Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Welcome to Shelby's Show. If you're on YouTube, it's Shelby's Show because it is. So I have been doing these for 6 months now. I've officially been doing them for 6 months, which for me is an accomplishment. Having been behind the scenes a lot, this has been a good exercise for me. So this show, I am just trying to have a place where we can kind of ask the silly questions that we don't want to ask other places. So especially when it comes to social media and new like technology, a lot of times it feels like everybody knows something that you don't. I just recently did this with somebody where I mentioned a platform that they didn't know about. And of course, like you can't know about every single platform. And so I always like kind of kick myself because it's like, I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, you don't use, it was Marco Polo. I don't know if you know Marco Polo. If you do, let me know. It's a lifesaver for me because I have kids and I never text people back. Like I'm horrible at texting. So Marco Polo is like a video app where you can send videos from your phone and it's like a video messaging. And it saves me for things like Zoom meetings that I have little people around me. Then I can hop on that app and do like quick short videos versus having an hour-long Zoom and having to tell my kids a million times. It kind of helps with that. So anyways, it was just one of those moments where I was like, not everybody knows every app or every technology out there. Of course not. None of us do. Even if you're in this space 24/7, there's just so much technology right now, especially with AI tools where you're not going to know all of the words and terms and things like that. So I'm trying to do this show as kind of a way for us to have those conversations of like, I don't know what this is. And somebody mentioned it like I should. So that was what I was thinking with this episode today about AI. So AI is like this big fancy word that everybody's throwing around right now, but I think it's less scary than we need to kind of act as it is. So anyways, I am Shelby. If you've not been here before, I'm a live stream producer. So usually I'm behind the scenes of these type of things. And I like to call myself a content traffic cop, meaning I help people produce content, but it's their own content. And I'm just making sure it gets where it needs to go at the right time. And maybe let's not have this be a rush hour post. Let's have this be a Sunday stroll post kind of thing. Like making sure things are getting where they need to at the right time and taking out the technical piece of content creation so that the content producer can actually engage with their audience and actually produce the content that they want to produce. Because if you produce a lot of content, you know, the idea is the easy part. Having the idea or having the knowledge, it's communicating it well. It's putting it into a format that resonates with your audience. It's grabbing people's attention so that they actually read the idea. So that's kind of what I help with. And I also like to share wins and fails every single month because when I started this show in January, I was talking about how I'm afraid of failing at things, so I don't do things. So this has been my attempt at celebrating my wins and also my fails. So when I try something new and it doesn't work, I am proud of myself because I tried something new. So for June, here is my wins and my fails. So for my win, I did a speaking engagement. I guess that's what we will call it. I went to a technical college and talked about what I do for work, which for me was very cool because finding myself in this weird content creation space was unplanned. I actually originally started going to school for nursing. And when I had to move states and all of my credentials didn't follow me, I had to kind of course correct and get creative. And I found this space of helping content creators. And I was like, oh my gosh, like so many people can do this wherever they're at. And it's been great for me personally, for being able to be home with my kids, or being able to move states a lot easier when we needed to, because I wasn't geographically limited. So it was really fun to be able to kind of share that with other people, to share it with this technical college. And it was a little nerve-wracking, but I actually enjoyed it. I was very surprised with myself because I've never really thought of myself as enjoying public speaking, but once I got into it, I really liked it. So that was my win. My fail was my sourdough. It died again. I've been trying to do a sourdough starter since, I want to say, September of last year. But I can never, we always leave on vacation. We have young kids, so I forget. Like, I have all the excuses in the book for why my sourdough starter, it's never even got to like the starter. Okay, one time it got like past the first week of feeding it. After that, we went on vacation and it died. So it's kind of my sad fail of the month, but that's okay. So today, my question for you, if you're here live or if you're joining later, still let me know in the comments. Does content made with AI feel authentic to you? And I know right now that's kind of, we're not even sure what content is being made with AI and which content isn't. And it's huge. Like, there's a huge asterisk because it's like some people start with AI. Some people, you can kind of tell, just post what they get from AI. And for me, I feel like it's kind of one of those skills that we are still learning. And if you're doing it wrong, it's very obvious. And if you're doing it right, it's almost entirely, you like are unable to tell. So I don't know. I don't know if it feels authentic. I'm curious if you follow anybody and if you found out like their content's being produced a lot by artificial intelligence, how would you feel about it? Does that make it any less relevant? Does that make it any less helpful? Or is that kind of just how things are turning, like the way things are starting to be? I have lots of thoughts on this. I think that there's a time and a place for it, and I think we're just barely in the beginning of it. So obviously, these are very cliche answers that I've heard from a lot of people, and I'm trying to articulate what I mean. But I think for me, if I am overwhelmed or not in a good headspace, it's a great starting point. I've yet to find a tool that's like plug and play and super easy and spits out exactly what I want, and it's in the voice that I need it to be, and it's interesting. A lot of times what I'm getting out of AI is just AI sounding. And I'm learning my prompts and I'm trying to figure it out a little bit better. And there is some tweaks that I'm making, but I've actually found it really helpful for more information than actual content production. But that being said, I'm going to share a couple of them that I've been testing out. I mentioned in my post that I've been testing different tools every month to try to kind of get an idea what's out there and to not get overwhelmed, because a lot of these I feel like are kind of spammy. Like, some of them I've signed up for and I'm like, that's not exactly what I was expecting. And some of them are underselling themselves. So it's hard to get into the research of it because there's some learning curve, and then also some of them are just not helpful. So here is what I am planning to go over today. So sharing just some wins and fails, check, check. If you have any, please share them with me in the comments. And remember that if you have any silly questions that you don't want to ask anywhere else, this is the place. Ask away. Any technology questions or things like that that I can help you figure out. I don't even know if I'll have the answers. Let me know. So I'm going to share a social media tool that I've been using, a writing tool, and a language to photo tool. And then I want to hear your thoughts on AI and any questions that you have. So, first and foremost, AI tools for social media. Let me know if you have any that you've been loving that have actually helped make your content better and helped you produce it quicker. Because what I've found is sometimes when I get into prompting and I'm like, can you craft a LinkedIn post about this? Oh, that was too long. Oh, change the tone. It almost feels harder than just writing it myself. Like at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like prompting, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm just gonna completely do it myself, and I've wasted 30 minutes or whatever trying to get AI to use it. So, one of the things that I have been using, so for me in my business, taking long form audio or video and finding like good little nuggets, 1 minute, real shorts, TikToks, whatever you want to say, 1 minute video clips is something I've been looking for. So, I've yet to find one that's worked very well. It almost feels like I have to still edit and then use the tool. So that was kind of the one that I found that I was going to share. Is I'll get into it, the pros and the cons. So it's called repurpose.io. Um, yeah, here's my show to Dropbox because I wanted to take long form videos, find some good little nuggets, and save them to my Dropbox. So I like that that was the option that I could not post but save audio, like videos, which I thought was cool. So it was pretty easy to use as far as like setting them up and connecting my YouTube and my Dropbox. So this is what the inside of this looks like. Again, their tagline is we make it easy to automate your content workflow, one post, multiple platforms. So it's pretty user friendly as far as like when you get in there, connecting your things and creating your workflows felt pretty easy for me. I really like that they had different templates that you can choose from. Um, So you can add a headline and then it'll auto caption it. And they also had a content calendar for you to plan ahead, which I always love when social media tools have that already built in there instead of having to take something and put it into a different calendar. It already had it there, which I thought was great. But the cons to this is I was still editing the clips, which is kind of what I've found with these. And I'd love to hear if anybody has found one that just takes a long form video and makes it into short form 1 minute things that actually requires no or less editing. Because this one, again, I'm still dragging it. I'm still finding the 1 minute that's makes sense, and there's still a ton of editing that I was doing. And then once I did all the editing, I hit publish, meaning it was going from my YouTube, my edited video from my YouTube, to my Dropbox to save. And it took a while for it to generate. So for me, it was almost like I use Canva right now and for video editing, and it almost made sense for me to just use Canva, download the video and upload it to Dropbox. Like that was the one step that it helped me save time on, was the downloading, uploading. And honestly, it didn't really save me time. It just saved me clicks. So I don't know if it would even make sense. So I made a little, if I were to use this, how would I use this? I would use this if I was making tons and tons and tons of content. So if I had been a like content producer, if I had been putting out content for years and years and I had tons of backlog videos, where if I posted them again, people would re-engage or see them for the first time. That's what I would use this for. So again, also if I'm publishing to multiple channels daily, I always like to focus on one or two channels, my energy, but I think maybe this would be a good idea if you're like, okay, I'm not going to entirely focus all of my energy on TikTok, but I still want things to be posted to TikTok. I'm just going to auto put it in the calendar here and repurpose, and it's just going to auto post for me, and I'm not going to have to really pay attention to it. That's what I could see this being useful for. I also think it would be if you already have your video edited down. That's where your sorry, my little one just cried, and I know she's with my husband, she's fine, but it scared me. uh, anyway, so I would use it also if I already had my videos edited down and they were just sitting there, maybe in a Dropbox, and I could just automatically have them being posted without me thinking about it. So that was one. There's another one called Veed, VEED, that I've been playing around with a lot. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw me laugh about they have the eye corrector. So like it's supposed to keep your eyes on the camera at all times. Don't use that, my friends. Don't use that. It was so bad. It made me look so crazy and I was just laughing. So if you see, I just recently saw somebody post about like eye correction on Zoom calls. Let's not do that. Not yet. The technology is not there. You will look like a crazy person and everybody will know that you're using it. Okay, so the second one is AI tools for written content. This is one that I'm extremely excited about. I still need to learn a lot about it, but I can see this making a lot of sense for my business and for other people that I interact with. So it's called Jasper.ai. The free version is very similar to ChatGPT. So it says write better content effortlessly. It's telling me my mic went away. If you are here, let me know if you can still hear me. If not, I'm just going to keep going. So, one thing I love about this is the enhanced prompt. So basically, AI is helping you write better prompts for AI, kind of like Inception-y, in my opinion. But the paid version, I think, is going to be worth paying for if you do a ton of posting. So I thought this one was really cool. This personal LinkedIn post. You put your problem, solution, other information, and it spits something out to help you kind of brainstorm LinkedIn content. So I thought that was cool. And so my pros and cons for this, there is a huge list of content options. You can't see it very well on here. Let's see. Whoop. Here we go. So it has ad, blog post starters, email campaign, landing page. So lots of cool things that way where you can kind of tell AI what you want and what you don't want as far as like, because I've had trouble with ChatGPT before where it's like, technically that would be good content for a blog, but we're looking for a LinkedIn post, so have to start over again. So I like that it's like more specific already. You don't have to prompt it every time to be what it is. And then I like that it has that AI inside of the AI, so it's helping you prompt better. The cons for me is it's expensive. I feel like $49 a month is kind of expensive. It makes sense for what I'm doing for work and probably would make sense for a lot of people. But I feel like that's a little spendy for a platform or a tool. And then the other thing is it's kind of overwhelming because there's like tons and tons of options. So I think this is one that I'm definitely going to keep learning and keep trying to figure out because it seems to make sense, but those are my cons for my cons list. I would use this if I did social media for work, which a lot of us do, even if you're not a social media manager. Maybe you just have a small business and you use social media. I think this would cut down your time exponentially if you were able to prompt it correctly. Like on here, I say the solopreneur, perfect for that. And also if I was a teacher. So it had a very cool prompting section for explaining to a child, which I'm going to use this with concepts for my kids because it was interesting. So this is kind of like a weird prompt, but my friend's cat just passed away and we loved that cat. It was like the sweetest, most adorable, cuddly thing. And I have a 3-year-old and we've not had to have this conversation yet. And I already had the conversation. I didn't use AI to prompt me, but today I thought about it as I was playing around with Jasper. I was like, can I use this explain to a child to explain that our friend's cat died and it's sad? And how do I explain that to a 3-year-old? So you can put in the prompt and then you can put in the age and it spits out something that you can say to that age, which I thought was cool. So it prompted me that, death is a part of life and it can be sad and our friend's cat is no longer here. And it was just kind of fun. So if I was a teacher, I would be using that to kind of get some ideas for lesson plans. I thought I'm going to tell my mom about it because she's a teacher and I could see her using it. So that is for written content. And the next one is for text to picture. So this is one that I've heard a lot about as far as the AI, the ethical portion of AI, because they're pulling art and photos from the internet for the information that it's fed. So art is a very, obviously that's something that's kind of hard to protect. And I'm also it's creating images of things that aren't actually happening, like the Pope and Gucci. Maybe you've heard about that viral picture, but that was AI. And so it's creating confusion and it's kind of weird. So I'll show you what I used it for. I know that there's I don't know. Let me know how you feel about this one because this one's kind of the one that makes me a little nervous about AI. So the tool that I was using is called Dall E. It is the ChatGPT's version of Adobe has Firefly and I'm blanking on the other one. Anyways, there's a lot of Midjourney. Yeah, Midjourney is the other one that's really popular right now for you type in a prompt and then it kicks out a picture, basically. So what I'm pointing to on this, let me get it a little bit bigger, is that there's this option to upload and edit a picture, which I thought was interesting and what I was playing around with. So I took a very not glamorous picture of myself of me working, and I added it to Dall E and asked for variations of the picture. So let's see. This is the original one. And then these are what kicks it out. If you can tell, the eyes are horrendous. I just don't think that they have quite figured out the eye thing on the faces for these tools. So it's kind of strange. But when I did the edit option instead of the variation option, here is the prompt that I put. I put add a window with a maple tree in the background, which it looks a little bit legitimate. I'm not sure what this yellow writing is right there, but this portion down here that has the leaves kind of looks normal, I thought. And then also this one cracked me up. I did, can you clear my desk and add a vase of flowers, please? So it didn't really clear my desk off. There's a tiny little bit of flowers right here, but I love the hand at the bottom like this, asking please. So I think I'm not prompting it right. I know I'm not prompting it right, actually. I think that this one kind of has you have to be very specific, and I think I've not learned the language for it yet. So I was like, okay, maybe the video editing doesn't make sense, or the photo editing doesn't make sense, but maybe it would make sense for like concepts or logos or more graphic design type things. So I added the prompt that said, can you give me 3 options for a logo for a social media marketing company? Include a sunflower in the color blue. The brand is trendy, friendly, and young with neutral colors. So I thought I did good at prompting that. I put a lot of effort into that one. And honestly, I was like not impressed with what it spit out. I was like, okay, I guess that's what I asked for. And again, I think I need to learn more about these tools, this like text to photo one specifically, because I feel like I could just not get it right on the prompting. It wasn't giving me what I wanted, and it was kind of disappointing that way. So, which honestly, I don't see myself using it a ton. So it wasn't the end of the world. So what I would say with this is pros, it's very cool technology. The fact that it can take your written words and make a photo is kind of crazy. The variation button was one pro that I thought was really cool. So I added a closer look at this. But basically, when you click on the photo, so I clicked on one of these photos here, and I put make variations, and it spit out different variations of the concept basically. And then my last pro is you can add a maple tree to your photo if you want. Like, I don't know. Um, the con spaces are weird, and it seems to have a long way to go. And it also seems like it takes a while to produce like it's not as quick, which makes sense, I guess, with what it's having to do. But yeah, these tools, I'm like, I think I'm lacking in my understanding of it. And I'm not sure how it makes sense. So what I say on this one is I would use this if I was a photographer. I could see this maybe being something you could use as far as like I wonder, I'm just thinking about this now, but if you could add like remove watch, or I don't know, something like that, that I've heard are common difficulties with photographers having to edit every single photo. They're trying to edit out that watch. I wonder if this would be something that would be quicker for that process. But I do also wonder if it would lose the quality. I don't know. So I would try figuring this out if I was a photographer. If I needed some basic brainstorming, so an idea like with the logo, I thought like, oh, okay, like maybe this would give me a good place to start, or maybe I could send it over to a graphic design person and say like, hey, like here's where I'm at. Here's what I have so far. Here's kind of the concept that's in my brain. Can you make it look better? I think that would be something I would use it for. And then if I had a lot of time to put into learning this, because it felt like this one was the hardest for me, like to make it make sense. So again, I could see it being useful if you had a lot of time to put into it, but it's not really one that I'm probably going to spend very much of my time on. I don't see it making sense. I'm curious if anybody here has done the AI photo shoots. Apparently you can like have them like do different like wardrobe and hair options, which I think is kind of interesting. But again, I've seen them kind of spit out some funky faces. So I just want to give a special shout out to Jim Hyde's newsletter, The Creative Brief. He's written a couple articles about AI. This last one was all about the text to photos, the Midjourney, and I think he had a Dall E in there. Anyways, and it was extremely helpful for me. I should leave that up a little bit longer. If you want to scan that QR code, you can go to that newsletter, because that was a resource that I used to kind of understand these tools, and I thought was interesting. So I don't know. There's a lot to these things. There's a long ways that we are going, I think, with this technology. It's brilliant, and you can dive down this rabbit hole and really find some things. Like, it's pretty crazy. So let me know if there's any AI tools that you're seeing that are helpful and saving you time. So far, I can't really say I've found one that's like, "Woo, my work is so much easier." I Yeah, I'm just kind of figuring it out still. I'm sure maybe in a couple months I can do another live on AI and maybe I'll be better at it by then. As I try to do 3 tools a month and try to figure it out. I'm having a hard time staying on one tool, and I know that that's part of, like, helping AI, training AI to kind of, talk the way that you want it to, so I think that that's also something that as I continue with a certain tool, maybe it will make more sense for me later. But as of now, they're fun, but I'm not really using them with my work just yet. So, anyway, thank you so much for being here on the last day of June. I hope that you've had a wonderful June and a happy weekend if you're in the US and you're going into a holiday. I hope you have a wonderful time next week and I will see you the end of July. Thank you.